But this is the first one in our new season of PlayMakers Masterclasses, and we're absolutely delighted for this fifth or sixth season of Masterclasses that we are doing them in person as well as online. That's really exciting. So it's really great that we can be in rooms together and also be accessible for people who can't be in the room. So that's lovely to have you. Lauren's going to be running a practical workshop. We are going to be recording it on Zoom. That's so it will become part of our archive, which is great so people can access the activities. If you haven't already accessed the Masterclass archive through the Playmakers section of our website, please do. We've got loads and loads of different masterclasses covering a lot of different topics, and it's a really great way to explore various things such as starting plays, finishing plays, dialogue, character, multi-character scenes, and lots of ways to get your creative juices flowing. So please do access that. But now I'm going to hand over to the very wonderful Lauren-Nicole Mayes, who we're delighted to have here, to let you get on with it.
Yeah,
thanks
amazing.
so much.
Thanks so much.
Those of you on Zoom, if you've got any questions, whack them in the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat throughout. Thank you.
So yeah, I'll just do a bit of an introduction and then we can get cracking. So I'm Lauren-Nicole Mayes. I'm an actress and a writer. Welcome. Hey, you're right. Yeah, I'm an actress and a writer for stage and screen, and a bit of a full circle moment because Box of Tricks a good few years ago now, maybe 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago, were probably one of the first people I reached out to and was like, I have an idea. And Hannah was like, cool. And I was like, and she was like, have you written it? And I was like, no, I've never written before. So anything's possible, basically. Everything starts off as a seed, as an idea, and thinking back to where I was then and how much my life and career has changed now. It's, yeah, I truly believe, you know, you don't have to have an academic background in writing. If anything, I think some of the best stories in the world come from that seed of an idea, that little itch you have. I'm just going to kind of read a bit of a statement about what we're going to be doing today and kind of, yeah, where I am in my writing journey, so that I guess we can play and collaborate together. So when I was asked to do this masterclass, I thought long and hard about what to share. And I kept coming back to the same question, which is, what would I have needed when I first started writing, and what do I still need now? We spend so much time searching outside of ourselves for answers, looking to other people's processes, formulas, rules. But the biggest breakthroughs I've had always come when I've done the opposite, when I've turned inward, when I've asked, what's my truth? What's the heart of my story? Now, let me be clear, I don't know everything. I actually always say I know nothing, far from it. But I do know my strength lies in going ham on the things that make me me. And that's not arrogance, that's just fact. No one else can write what I write, and no one else can write what you write. Trying to follow someone else's steps or ticking off a list of writing exercises has never really worked for me. What has worked is returning to myself again and again. Creating worlds, characters, places that feel lived in, like they've got a sewn-in name tag with my name on the inside, where I take full ownership. They're not imagined from some far-off land, they're rooted in something real. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a big out there story, and your story can be that. It can be magical, fantastical, sci-fi, mystery, folklore, but it's always coming from somewhere inside of you. Maybe it's a part of you that you haven't even got to fully know yet, and I think that's really exciting. And here's something else I always say. I always remember how daring my world can be. I always try to be bolder than I think I'm allowed to be. And that thing you've been told no one's interested in, that story that's too niche or too much, I would say lean right into it. Be dangerous with that. That's where the fire is, and that's where the gold is. So today we're going to build from heart. We're going to build from you. And I like to call it going ham. So I will refer to that a lot throughout the masterclass. So I like to call it going ham, going all in on specificity, the color, the texture, the smell of your world, the rhythms, the slang that your character has. That is for me what makes the script sing. And that's what makes the story exciting. And that is what we're going to do today. Yeah. So when I say going ham, yeah, let's just have a bit of a chat. Like, what does that mean to you? Because I know what going ham means for me. But yeah, let's open up the floor. What does going ham mean to you? Feel free to. Anyone?
No clue your context. I'm just thinking about the meat.
Say that you're thinking about the you.
Going ham.
Yeah, going ham.
Like,
Yeah, okay. But when I say going ham, what I mean is going all in on you. So, for example, when I write, nobody else can write in my rhythm because that's my rhythm of life. That's the pace I walk at, the pace my characters might walk at, the pace I talk at. Do I want my characters to speak like me? Or do I want them to speak like someone I know? When I say going ham, I mean I'm from Blackpool. So when I write a lot about Blackpool and the specificity of that world, I can smell it. I can feel it in the room. When I'm writing, I know exactly the colours I'm talking about. I know, and I go all in on that. If, for example, if I'm talking about a ham sandwich, I'm not just talking about the bread and the ham. I'm talking about the pickled onions. I'm talking about the brown sauce. I'm talking about what it feels like when I bite into it in that script. And so when I say going ham, a lot of the time I think we can write scripts or stories that feel very generic. And I think there's a real difference between me and you because we're totally different people. So we're totally different writers. So what makes you the sort of writer that you are and what makes me the sort of writer I am is going ham. And so going ham in a more kind of intellectualized way would be going all in on what makes you, I guess.
Is that like have you made that up or is it colloquial thing from
I've
where
heard
you're
that.
from?
Going ham, yeah, I think it's from where I'm from.
Oh, okay. I've
Yeah.
never,
Oh yeah, I've never
Not.
heard it.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Oh God. So when you was like, I don't know, I was like, what? Yeah, no, oh my God, yeah. So I say it all the time. I'm like, I did a thing. It's funny. 'Cause, do you know what? That rings true because I did a thing at BBC Writers Room the other day and I did a talk and I was like, you just got to go ham. And I did think in the room, everyone was like, but yeah, that thank you for saying that. 'Cause, yeah. Yeah, yes, yeah, there we go. It's up to all.
That going ham.
Go ham, like go ham. Say it then. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I guess I don't mean like over the top, I just mean truth. Yeah. You're over the top. Yeah. And I always think I just think sometimes, especially when we're writing plays and when we're writing, if you're writing for plays or you're writing for screen, I think a lot of the time when it comes to stories, we're always trying to follow a structure and a mold we've seen before. And I always think form and structure should come from the characters and the story. So for one of the scripts I wrote, which is a story called BABYNUN, it's about postpartum psychosis. And the script there, her mental health and her delusional thoughts and her hallucinations are all over the place. So the form and the structure of the script really leans into that. You know, the pace of her mental health and where we're moving at determines how we're moving in the script. And I always think a lot of the time with form and structure, it's just this thing that's put on top of our script. Like we have to do this and we have to hit that mark and why can't it all be combined? It should feel like it's coming from the same place. And I always say I know nothing, so take what I say with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
I guess I've had a friend who's very like, it has to have a 3-act structure. It has to like, here is the scaffolding he expects. And I don't think like that at all.
I think those things are important. I think we have to understand why those rules work. And if they work for you, brilliant. And then if they work and there's a reason why they do work. And it's not saying you can't have them. You can still have them, but you can still play. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be bound by them. They're not, I don't think they're there to like, sometimes I feel like they can be like chains and we feel tied to them. And form and structure, I know. I was like to Hannah when I first met her before, like I even wrote my first play. I was like, do I have to do a course in form and structure? And she read my play and she's like, no, you don't have to do some form and structure. There isn't a course for form and structure. It's like, I think the saying is true. You've got to learn the rules to break the rules. And that's really true. I used to break the rules all the time and I had never learned them. So it's like, actually, let's go back. Let's learn the rules and why they work. And I would say why we do that is because when things are going wrong in your script and you're looking at things and you're thinking, this isn't working, those tools are what are going to get you out of that mess. But I think being bound by them can be really restrictive. Sorry, were you going to say something before? No, okay. So yeah, I've got some photos on the floor. Yes, Maya.
I spent a lot of time in academia, and one of the things that they tend to do as a way to restrict you as a creative person, as a writer, is saying be critical as opposed to be creative. So I was only allowed to do 33% creative work in my thesis for my PhD, where I wanted to do 100%. So as for me, my creativity is a way to cope with all the bad and horrible stuff that I lived through.
Yeah.
And those stories are a way to let other people in a glimpse what I experienced. And I think it's sad that I probably got more from the short time that I spent with you so far than I ever did having an English trying to do a PhD that should have took 3 years. So it's that for me, creativity, telling those stories, having like painting, like literal, psychological, physical, emotional. It's if I don't show that, then other people can't support me.
Yeah.
It's like medicine, like stuff that Parasite take over.
Yeah. I think what you just said sums it up beautifully. Thank you for sharing that. I think when it comes to creativity, there's lots of things work for certain people, but I think we're in a time where we can't copy and recreate other people's journeys or rules. We've got to find the things that work for us and take those things and run with them. You know, someone else will say, another writer will say completely different to me. That's the beauty of writing. I think sometimes we're all looking for the answer. It's like, what's your process? Okay, that's gonna be my process. And I know I felt like that, you know, in the early stages where it's like, people are like, what's your process? And it's like, what the fuck is my process? Like, you know, and every time I write, the process changes, and we'll talk about that a bit more towards the end of the workshop, because, you know, I've been reading things recently, and so it should be like that. Like, every day you live is different. The way you approach a situation at work, depending, you know, you've got an aggressive client or a polite client, you approach situations differently, you approach life differently. Why would you not approach writing plays differently? Like, you're not going to write every play the same. It's just the process changes all the time. Where you're at in your life changes, so then that changes the way you write. Isn't that like I think that's a beautiful thing. God forbid we wrote a play the same way each time. I actually contradictory. I actually don't really like doing writing exercises. I don't find them super useful. Don't get me wrong, I actually find reading plays and working out exactly how they've done things. I do that a lot. I read a lot of plays and I'm like, how did she do that? And I go back and forth on the play and I'm like, I see how she did that. Okay, how does that work? Why do I like that? It's not that I want to do it in my play, but I understand the tools that person has used, especially female writers. I do that a lot because I just find that a better way. We're going to do something called the language of place. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I've kind of made it up. So yeah, we're going to go along with it. So there's a stack of images on the floor. And when you're ready, I would really like you to just pick one that pulls you in. So it stirs something in you. I don't want you to overthink it. I'd rather let the picture choose you without being so I don't know, silly about it.
Hello, Zoom participants. I've got some images for you to have a quick look at.
I'm so excited to see what you've got. I'm leaving you there for you, okay? Right there.
I'm going to show you a few. Lauren just said choose the one that speaks to you the most.
This one's a cool one. Beautiful. Oh, I think that's beautiful.
Do you want ones with words on?
Yeah.
Let's do that with that one. I'm not going to overwhelm you with choice. I'll leave it with those ones there, unless there's any more that you want to.
And I'll just show that one. That's the pretty one. I really like that.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask you now why you've chosen the image. But what I would like you to do is just hold it up so I can see, if you don't mind. Because I'm nosy. I love that one. Fab. Thank you. So yeah, language of place. I like you to pick the image, I guess, that pulls you in and it stirs something in you. And going back to what we spoke about earlier, I guess, about going ham, going all in. This image could be a world you know. I don't know. You might be raised here, you might have returned here when no one's watching, or it might be a dream that keeps repeating over and over in your head. I don't know your connection to that image. But the challenge is well, you can't use any dialogue, no explanation. You can only write in actions. So I want you to look at the image, and I'm just going to kind of read some questions that came to mind when I was thinking about this exercise. And I want you to think about, what do you do in this space? Where do your feet go first? What do your hands reach for? What rituals, habits, secrets live there? How do you cook there if you were going to clean, cry, hide, or rest? Where do you sit when you want to be invisible there? And what do you touch when you want to remember? They're just, you don't have to remember those. They're just things that came to my mind when I was thinking about this exercise. And I want us to write. I want us to free write together at the same time. But I want you to imagine that when you're writing, this is a private language made of gestures, patterns, breath, a language only you understand because you know the specifics of this place. And it doesn't matter if you don't, because I don't know that you don't. And you don't know that you don't. You're just going to write action and no dialogue. You can write about how you got to this place, maybe. You could write about why you want to leave this place. I'm just giving you ideas, but you don't have to listen to what I say. And when you're finished, maybe we can, we'll have a chat. Questions again, of course. What do you do in this space? Where do your feet go first? What do your hands reach for? What rituals, habits, secrets live here? How would you cook here, clean here, cry, hide, or rest? Where do you sit when you want to be invisible? What do you touch when you want to remember? Yeah, and the idea is that we don't use any dialogue. We just write in actions. And there's no right or wrong. Like, if you end up writing in dialogue, I'm not going to be like, how dare you? Just, feel free to write. Yeah, sorry. Imagine this is a private language made of gestures, patterns. You can think about breath, movement, a language only you understand because you know the specifics of this place. I'm going to give about, what are we on now? I'm going to give like 10 minutes. Yeah. But obviously, if it stops flowing, you can stop writing. Before I go into any more detail about the exercise, thoughts, feelings, how did we find it? Were you like, what the hell am I doing? Were you like, oh, this is flowing out of me? Like, what happened?
Well, I'm not to do dialogue. I was doing internal. It's quite hard to stop doing that.
Yeah, I found it when I did that exercise, I found it really hard. I found myself going into kind of like monologue, and I was like, and then I was like, what am I doing? But so it's hard. I think that's our voice, isn't it, though, in our head? Anybody else? Thoughts, feelings?
I thought it was limited the specific image, but stay contained within the formula that you presented with the picture. Couldn't go out.
Yeah, you were in that world. Yeah, I get it.
Focusing on that.
Honed in. Yeah, zoomed in. It's like a zoomed in lens. Anybody else? Yes, Mike.
I was the bird came up a postcard. And it was hard as I stopped and started. I was going around in circles. But I'm not thinking around trying to describe what somebody else has described to you.
Yeah.
It's but it's challenging. It's not to find a balance. Sorry, I spoke over.
No, you're all good, Samaya.
Yeah, I think that it's easy to overcomplicate something like this, isn't it?
Mhm.
Start asking what you want to doing, what's going on, when in fact you the questions that you were asking us to consider and ones we can think of ourselves are pretty intuitive. So
We start sometimes trying to create a backstory for everything, you know, but actually we're in the present moment of, looking at the picture and I suppose answering those questions. But I hear you, that's the right respect, like why she got there and who was there and what was her dad saying and a mum and a sister and a brother and a boyfriend. And were you gonna, Jane? Were you
No, I
saying
was just agreeing. I
Yeah.
think it's hard not to try and impose character, just focus on the moment and the doing and the feeling and the
Yeah, and I often think, sorry,
quite
go on.
challenging.
Yeah, it's challenging, isn't it? I think the idea that Smile said, like going around in circles, I found myself doing that, going around in circles, being like, I'm just repeating, sometimes like writing the same sentence over and over again. I think the kind of reason I think language of place for this exercise is important. I think when we're writing scripts, especially plays, a lot of the time the stage directions, they don't sing off the page. And I always think when I read things, I'm like, well, why don't they sing? Because they're just as important as the dialogue, if anything, more so. What do they say about you in those stage directions? As in the writer, what do they say about the characters? Like a lot of the time they just feel so stifled. And I think it's really important in the play, yeah.
I think in some way it was restrictive, which was a good thing because it just kept you focused on that image. So you couldn't go on veering off. You just had to keep your brain on what you're trying to show. So I quite like that in some ways.
Yeah, you have the one thing to focus on instead of 10.
To make my brain one idea.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think when I chose this card, it definitely was the one that like leapt out at me. But then when I was staring at it, I was thinking, no, I really would.
Yeah, it's always the way. It's like, why?
Actually, when I'm just I'm gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I did, and it obviously didn't sort of speak to me for a reason. So yeah, I think I don't know if we're going to share what we've written, but I think I basically have written in monologue. So I really tried hard to just at the one time sort of address those issues that you'd mentioned, but also when I realised how I was writing, to try not to go back and do what I classically do, which is then self-edit and kind of
yeah.
So I just went with whatever came. So.
Which is perfect. And I think what you just said is so interesting. Like when you pick something and it speaks to you and you put it down, and then it's like our brain plays tricks on us, and we're like, well, this was the worst decision in the world, and I don't know anything, and I hate this image. And it's like actually what we're feeling there is just a bit of discomfort. Do you know what I mean? Most of the time, and it's like you said, I think it's so easy to overthink the whole thing, when actually there's no pressure at all. Does anybody want to share what they've written? There's no pressure to, but I'm all ears, and I'd love to hear anything or something.
Trying to avoid writing dialogue.
Uh-huh.
I've only really got an idea because it's just one person.
That's absolutely fine.
On the desert island. I'm just trying to think more of it's theatre is so bogged down in dialogue and more interested in trying to crystallise it into some sort of image. Like Robert Lepage creates very visual spectacles. It's quite influenced by his work, like the Dragons trilogy. But this idea is really like a man on a desert island who's building a sculpture of his dead wife.
Wow.
Or maybe she isn't dead, and maybe they're in a relationship, and she's hiding on the other side of the island. But it's just the image of him doing this.
That's incredible of that. Yeah.
Escape and but there is kind of a genre of cinema like exploitation cinemas, where people are trapped in remote. There's a film called Long Weekend, which has that idea. So Australian film from the 70s, like a couple's relationship breaking down. So I guess that's a bit of an inspiration because they're in the remote part of Australia.
Yeah.
what's I suppose trying to repair their relationship. But I was also influenced by this film Zardos from the 70s with the giant head. All these ideas go into sort of a melting pot, and but the act of someone doing something that is essentially futile as a form of denial. That's kind of hypnotic, I think, really.
Yeah, that's captivating, and also you've just kind of summed up the whole point of the masterclass. Like, only you could write that. Do you know what I mean? Like that idea that you've just told us, and the way you've articulated it, only you could do that. So just yeah, that's not like a blow smoke up your ass. That's like a real thing, you know, and that sums up the exercise perfectly. So yeah, thank you.
To write these plays without dialogue, just purely being visual terms. That's something I'm more interested in these days, and paring it down just to the essence, really.
And have you done that?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Like scenes which are just movement and music.
I think I think in cinema it's more like prevalent than ever. But yeah, you have that more. But there's not. There is a world where you could absolutely do that. I think.
You're gonna have to read it now.
No, but the way you summed it up is what the exercise is about. So thank you for sharing. Does anybody else want to share theirs? Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
It's very ordered. Yes. Off the shoulder, webbed feet, textured space, taking note of the time ticking by. I laugh here at monotony, at triviality, at my life, no movement, no joy, just time ticking. Feet planted tight to the ground, embedded in a thick carpet, bound by routine. The secret is that I do nothing here. I pretend to live, to earn, to produce and be productive, but I don't and I'm not. It's been going on for 5 years, each day the same. I eat here, I sleep here, I wash here, I don't cook here, I order in here. I pace 20 meters by 15 by 10. I think I curse. I flip through the diary. I make imaginary appointments for the life I think I should be living. I see no one and hear nothing. The wooden panelling has absorbed me and I feel destined to be packed away out of sight in storage. 6:56 p.m. Time to walk, make coffee, deny myself the opportunity to leave and remind myself why I'm here. It is inescapable and comfortable. It's my place.
Thank you.
I've mentioned 25 million times more than I do.
And I understand what you mean about like inner monologue, because yeah, but it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? And I think the pace and the rhythm, like that's your pace and that's your rhythm. That's so enticing. And what would a play be where, you know, we spent a lot of time in that pace and rhythm, because that would then, you know, decipher the form and the structure of the play. I think that, yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you for sharing.
Just to go back to what you said right at the beginning about it's your pace and your structure. I've never thought about that before. I think I've been very guilty of looking at what I admire in other people and, you know, sort of what I want to replicate or who I'd like to be like. And that's the way I can write comfortably. So I think I have to think about that a bit more, because that wasn't trying to emulate anybody. So that was really helpful what you said earlier. Yeah,
and that's the gold, like that, you doing the thing that only you can do. Yeah, that is the sweet spot. And when we lean into that, and I get it, well, you know, I do it all the time. We're all guilty of it, because of course, why wouldn't we? If you saw a lawyer working the way to the top of the law firm, you'd look through the stats of how they got there and you would try and replicate that, because it's like, that's the process. But we're creatives, and unfortunately writing doesn't work like that. And when we're like, well, what's the rules? Give us the answers. Unfortunately, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. I spent so long asking Hannah and Adam and, you know, all the kind of mentors I've had along the way, and it's been like, yeah, but just tell me, what do you want me to do? And it's like, you're missing the point, Lauren. Like, if you just went back to yourself, that's what we want you to do. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be parts of it where they're like, well, you know, the ending's not really working, and that bit in the middle, the climax isn't quite working, and what's the inciting incident and all that. There's going to be questions like that. But if you're trying to emulate, you're never releasing your best creative self. You're never creating your best work. But it's so hard to do. And yeah, so thank you for even like sharing that afterthought, because it's so important.
I really liked.
Mine's very different.
Brilliant, wonderful. That's what we want, Jane.
Okay. So this is the picture.
I love that.
Sunrise, probably, and beach type thing. Feet dig into hot sand, finding coolness. Toes wiggle in the moist sand. Hand reaches down, palm flat, now coated with exfoliator. Face sun warmed. Inhale, salty, tangy hints. Salty tang hits throat. My handwriting's poor, by the way. Wow. Salty tang hits throat, shining, stings eyes, ears soothed by rhythmic waves, the breathing of the sea, swoosh, clinkle, chunkle, chuck, as the water breaks and pebbles drag. The space is endless, sea, sky, sand, nowhere to hide, no need, perfect isolation.
Thank you. I really got a sense of like all the senses, you know, like I could feel, taste. I that question I think I asked at the beginning, like where were you, where your feet were, where you were going, like I knew. Yeah, I could feel all the senses in there. So thank you for that.
So my picture is basically looks to me like some vegetables in a wooden cart. I just kind of expanded the world from that a little bit. Field in southern France, bordered on one side by a wood, and on the others, the dusty field stretches for miles. An old rickety cart is lying at 45 degrees. A stocky farmer is heaving pumpkins out of the ground. He looks at each one and as he pulls up and he's angry. He pushes each one into the cart. They are rotten, next to worthless, good for offal and nothing more. He lights a cigarette, but almost immediately hears a loud siren, the closing siren for a nearby factory. The day is over. It has been as worthless as the vegetable. He throws the barely smoked cigarette away, picks up the handles of the cart, and heads the long walk home.
Thank you.
I know that. Because the narrative, you've got characters there, and like, you can see it.
Yeah.
It's almost that, yeah, it was really evocative, that.
The imagery was amazing.
Yeah.
Like especially if an actor, if I was given that in a play and those are the stage, I'd be like, this is spectacular. Because there's so much you can do. Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially when you said something about like he throws the vegetables to the ground or like smacks or something. He used the word. Yeah, I was like, yes. Yeah, God, I felt it. Yeah. I'll put you in that too. If there's anybody else who'd like to share, let me know. And then, yeah. Okay, brilliant.
So this is my picture. It's a row of small red houses or chalets on the side of a lake with a mountain in the background. We crossed the cold, still water. Smoothly, the oars split the surface of the lake, disrupting the reflection of the red houses on the shore, splitting the homes we return to. Disembarking the jetty, we faced the cool clouds above our heads. We hurried to the warmth of those red houses, our homes. Inside, the fire roars on the hearth. We are welcomed, not by people, but by place. The sleeping dog raises his head lazily before returning to his own paws. The cold of the water and the journey sits in our boats. We remove layer after layer after layer, till finally we derobe. Nude, naked we enter the sauna. The heat hits us the moment the door opens. It's almost unbearable. Almost. From the moment we sit down, we start to sweat. Sweat out the journey. Sweat out the day.
These are amazing. These are amazing. So powerful.
My best friend, who was my best man, and I was his best man, was married to a Lithuanian, and he got married like in one of those weird COVID sort of times where you could only travel like certain times. You had to have all the swabs and stuff. So we had a long weekend in the sort of wilderness somewhere near Vilnius for where the wedding was. And on the Friday night, everyone was jumping into the cold lake and then going into the sauna and then jumping into the lake again. And yeah, I know this is just what that made me feel. Like that sort of sense of like home and place, but also that sort of sense of like it's cold, but then cold to be warm as well. That makes sense.
Yeah. And I love the dog.
Yeah.
The dog. I was like, yeah, like that was genius. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to do the second part of this exercise. So this part is going to be called, where am I up to on my exercise? Now we're going to look at when the image speaks back. So we've been writing what it feels like to exist in this space through action or movement or ritual. And now we're imagining the image can speak back. So go ham on the dialogue, baby. They've watched you, the image. So this is what I'm saying. They've watched you or they know you. Maybe they love you. Maybe they resent you. Maybe they miss you. Maybe they've never met you, but they've always waited. And I want you to give the image a voice. And I want you to let them ramble, whisper, monologue. They can seduce, apologize, confess. I want you to think about rhythm. Are they choppy, breathless, poetic? Is their slang regional? Is it invented? Is it borrowed? What else did I put? I put their punctuation. Is it broken, formal? Is it all capitals and they're speaking and raging in fury? Their emotion, are they gentle, scorned, proud? Go weird, go tender, go furious is my vibe. So if you need me to repeat any of that, if anybody needs me to repeat that a bit slower, because I know I went off on one and there I can. Of course I can. So I want you to imagine the image can speak. They've watched you. They know you. Maybe they love you. Maybe they resent you. Maybe they miss you. Maybe they've never met you, but they've always waited. Give them a voice. Let them go off. Let them ramble, whisper, monologue, threaten, seduce, apologize, or confess. I want us to think about their rhythm. Is it choppy, breathless, poetic, coarse? Their slang, is it regional, invented, borrowed? Their punctuation, is it broken, formal? Is it all capitals and they're furious? Their emotion, are they gentle, scorned, proud? Go weird, go tender, go furious. Sweet, we've got about 10 minutes. Fab. How did we find that? Different from the other one, obviously, but did we find it easier, harder, or did we just find it different? Anybody?
Bit easier because it's something to react against.
Yeah. Oh, really? And it might, I don't know if it's because we did the other one before, because I think our natural instinct is to do that, but I don't know. Don't know what you think.
Natural instinct is
Sometimes for most people, it's to write like that in a monologue.
yeah.
But maybe you not for you, maybe it's action comes to you.
I think it was the voice thing. I think I found in the monologue.
Yeah.
Comes naturally, but like somebody else's
Voice.
is where I started kind of.
Yeah, okay. Who are they? Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so yeah, so I think I'll start. Although I'm thinking now, I didn't actually write a conversation, I just wrote like.
Yeah.
I think it must depend on your stimulus, because my stimulus is like 5 or 6 monkeys. So they've all got characters, so it was really easy, but my brain had so many different tangents that I just it's funny. Characters. If you got a scene, because some of you've got sort of scenes and pictures and which are a bit abstract that you've obviously, but I've got a set characters there. Must be.
Yeah, they've already kind of been chosen for you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think it was easier for me, but I couldn't because I just too amusing.
I think like what Caitlin said, sometimes because we've not done all the, well, of course we haven't, we've been here an hour, but we haven't done all the work on like who that person is. And so that when you're then writing them, you're like, well, do I even know them? Do you know what I mean? Like, who am I writing about? Like, who's speaking? Do you know what I mean? It's such a quick turnaround of an exercise. So.
And I think I actually do characters partly because my anxiety is that I'm just like repeating, saying I'm just doing like me. But obviously I'm being sort of,
It comes from you, I get what you're saying, but you don't want all your characters to feel the same, which is, yeah, because that would be awful, boring, awful, about to say awful. That'd be awful. But no, I know what you mean. You sometimes can write a play and then you look through and you go, well, how are these different? You know, it's just all versions of me. But yeah.
But I think that's why I chose a person, because I know that I find it difficult.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, if I can see somebody else's face, help.
Right, yeah.
But then I don't think I was really right. Because absolutely like walking back to what the actions you that you were doing in the state then changed what the space was like.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But maybe that's just another layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe they are connected in some way. But I know what you mean. They might not be coming from the same person or space.
Yeah. Being another step to be like, okay, now can those words be done?
Anybody?
I put mine, I did this with the first exercise as well, but it sort of immediately became like part of a TV set.
Right.
So I had, so there was a program a few years ago, Strike, which was the Robert Gill, was it? Oh, JK Rowling. So that to me was like part of that set.
Yeah.
So I think when it came to the dialogue, it's like I almost was putting myself in that office. And I don't think that was unhelpful, but that sort of definitely informed the writing, and it's very male.
Right.
But again, I just sort of went with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was restrictive or what, but I found it very difficult when I realised that I couldn't get away.
Get out of it. Yeah.
And we found like this in both writing exercises, there's a distance between what I mean is I've got a real sense of the place. I thought that was really interesting, because it's rural and it's got cows and there are people in it. It was just a really interesting exercise. Especially when you're writing for stage, you have to think of black box stage because no one's got anything. Well, actually, sometimes it's nice to have in circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I got what you mean. Yeah. Which is so, yeah. Which is like when I suppose when we come up with an idea, it's like when we first forget about ever before we ever or anyone ever thought of writing as a career or doing it. Like when you've got ideas ticking, you're just thinking about the idea, aren't you? You're just thinking about that world, those people, like where do they go? If you want if there's a helicopter coming down, it's coming down. You're not thinking about the budget of the helicopter and how someone's going to say, no, you can't have the horse on stage, you know, or you can't have the helicopter flying. It's like you're just thinking of your story and like why it excites you. And then it's so weird, you're right, we lose that because then we go, okay, what would the Royal Exchange like to programme? You know, we do, and it's like we have to kind of pull ourselves back to that, because otherwise genuinely I do feel like there's like, what is the point? I might as well go and do something that I hate. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise I'll end up writing something that's for someone else that I don't even care about. And actually I would have more joy selling ham sandwiches in Co-op, because I would, you know what I mean? That would bring me more joy, because at least I would be doing something. I like ham sandwiches and I don't mind Co-op because they, you know, give to the arts. No, yeah, that's true.
Just put on really like low yellow.
Yeah,
labels
yeah,
at the end of the
yeah.
day.
I love a
Yeah.
yellow label. Does anybody want to, sorry, go on, share your thoughts.
This is so different from any way I've written before.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of freaking me out.
I love this is the feedback I want.
Sure, you're welcome.
I mean, I don't know if it's a compliment, but I will take it as a compliment.
This is not a way I remember my brain working, and it's kind of freaking me out. It's kind of cool, but it's very fragile.
Mhm.
And I don't remember writing feeling like this much. And I don't know what to do about it.
Well, you've opened a can of worms. I think fragile is an interesting word to use. It's a vulnerable place to write from.
Yeah. And it's just damn. It's not even what I thought it was. I picked it up and I put it back down. Like you were saying, you were like, oh, it's the wrong one. And it's like, I've had this reaction to this weird thing. Well, I thought it was like.
Oh, no.
Is it knitted?
Yeah, I thought it was knitted.
It's
Sea urchin.
sea urchins.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Well, so I think you are correct. I was trying to figure out so I thought it was like what I don't know. I've just watched, it's someone I know who knits, or she's no longer alive.
Right.
To knit a lot. And that's what it made me think of from far away. It was a bunch of whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
String, is that what it is? What do you
Wool,
knit
yeah.
with?
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Oh, yarn.
Wool.
Yeah.
Yarn. That's a word I should have used by now. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. But
No,
I've
no.
been freaking out.
This is brilliant.
This is so different from anything I remember writing. So
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. Would anybody like to share what they've written? We've got. I know you've got.
Can I
Yes.
tickle?
Have
Yeah,
a
let me-
have a great chat. Enjoy.
Enjoy
No, thank you. Are you all right? Come on.
Backwards, forwards.
No, back.
Backwards.
That's a good stage direction.
There you go. Can I tell you then? See you later. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Good luck.
Are you happy with what you know?
I don't know.
I'm not really intrigued and interested to hear what you made out of that.
Do you want to share it? There's no pressure to though. No, there's really no pressure.
I think super weird to be. Interesting. Anything that's odd or different is original. I think originality is something that sometimes is lacking in doing it. You go in and you see something, you know how it's going to end, halfway through.
Shared it, that's it.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to share anything they've? Yes, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, we could. I didn't want to put pressure on you, but we can come back if you want to share.
I feel like, all right.
Oh yeah.
This feels so weird. So I'm just reading the dialogue bit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm not, which probably makes even less sense. So I'm so weird. So I've never written more. Anyway, I don't know what the hell this is.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine.
And I guess I'm just saying the characters' names as I go through. Mike. Yeah, we should. Laura, Mike, don't say. Mike, we should get. Laura, Mike, she laughs. Don't. Oh, I dropped my crochet. Do you know what a crochet is? You shouldn't let Laura start talking about it. This is a crochet, she laughs. Mike, a one, but I get to see it before chemo. Mike, Laura, be nice. Laura, sorry, my filters are all out the window, she laughs, but the crochet. Such a lovely word. It's like a stitch with two threads, two swords fencing a fabric. Fab, fabric, fable, flourish. Oh, Laura, enough now. Sorry, Mike. You need to calm down and let them say something. Would you like any tea? Nicole, yes, please. Laura, you know what I want, she winks. Nicole, would you like help? Mike, yeah, no, I think it's all right. Griff, yeah, black, please. Laura, black coffee is one of Mike's favorites. He used to try the Lindy hop, but my friend Lynn was so mean teaching that day. I got so upset and stormed out, and Mike went and apologized, and we.
Well, I think it's great. I would. I could see it. Like I saw them all. I said,
Yeah, because that gives it flavour, doesn't it?
That's a word.
yeah, that is.
Lindy hop is like-
It was.
Yeah.
Did it sound?
No, it didn't sound terrible. It's great.
Well, did it? I mean, you can guess from my accent that I'm not from around here. What did it? Jesus Christ, okay, thank you very
I mean,
much.
I wonder if he's like, what's meant to be? Mm.
Oh, thank you.
I found it really.
Tactile's a great word.
Tactile's a great word, yeah.
Thank you.
I think what Lauren was saying, like it really fed into a sense that we don't perhaps use, like touch or whatever.
And also I got a sense of like everyone not saying what they really wanted to say, and like, and that was what we do, you know. And it's like, if we could just say the thing we wanted to say, then maybe we would all understand each other. They would all understand each other a bit better. But that is, you know, the amount of times like you see someone just come on stage and be like, and I was so sad and did it, and it's like, oh, you know, absolutely right to do that. Woohoo, all for that. But there's also real life happening. It's like we're so I felt that in all those characters. It's like, you know, when she was talking about the Lindy hop and him wanting his coffee black, and I just think there was so much ins and outs of it that were just, you know, replicated real life.
I thought even in quite short amount, like, I mean, there was a lot there, but it was still quite short, and there was a lot of tension. And I felt like if it was to be developed, you could see how a lot of these situations could just like blow up on stage. So to achieve that in such a short amount of time and so few words is, I really enjoyed that. So if that's not how you've written before, like it seems to work. So, but yeah, really good.
Yeah, you're so right. You can feel that, like if people were to try and sustain that for a whole play, they're gonna bubble and they're gonna blow. And
there's stuff obviously like, you know, if you were to just unpick a couple of those relationships, that, you know, you would see a lot quite quickly. You captured that. So yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Till the Stars Come Down, which is it's still, yeah, it reminded me a lot of that like family dynamic where it's like there's so much there, and but everyone's just trying to kind of like please each other, but actually there's like something's brewing underneath the surface and it's going to come out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Weirdly, I'm not a big fan of Pinter, but it made me think of the birthday party.
Right.
I don't know how well you all, there's like PT,
Yeah.
what's her face? Is it nice? Yes, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, what's gonna happen? And it was a very vivid, specific memory that this is from.
You could definitely feel that. I'm coming to you. I'm coming back. Yeah, thank you.
and some bars. So I just did a response, this is my response to each one. Hey, I can see you. I'm not messing. Do you think you're not seeing what you think I am? It's my job, I can hear you. I'll pull it over here by you. You think you made of the land, do you? The smell of concrete, you reek of it. Worse than the walls. Come here, or I'll pin you. Oh, but you're made of twigs. I could have had you anyway. Good job, it's me, not my fella. He'd eat you with gravy. Do I have to put you under? I wouldn't want to. You think you're welcome? You could have done belong on the stable door. What a cheap, what a cable coming all the way back to 3. And yes, she was yours, but you're not having it or any of them back. You'll chop them and mince them there. I missed you retreat and you're taller than me now.
Thank you. He'd eat you with gravy. I mean, I'm going to go around saying that to people. I'll eat you with gravy if you carry on. Thank you. That really sang of you, and I don't know you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know anything about you, but
just love this exercise and
good.
you're talking.
Yeah.
And the pace of it as well, because it was quite fast, and then you're trying to work out like what the people can't catch up. But that's good because you're trying to. And yeah,
yes. So my first bit was somebody creeping back into that London line and hiding them and skulking and all the things that you do and smelling the land and eating the dead and the things that you do if you take the time. So
Yeah.
this was fast and response because you've been spotted by the sibling of the friend.
I even forgot that there was a first bit. I just thought that stood alone.
Yeah. We probably have time for maybe one more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone want to?
Yeah.
Don't be shy. Thank you, Kate.
In my picture is like a young woman sat on a brown leather sofa, maybe plastic. She's kind of leaning forward, she's got really red curly hair, and she's like really smiling, open mouth, laughing. And she's got bare legs. I think she's wearing a wedding dress, but you can't really see her dress, but she's like leaning over. Okay, so the room speaking back, which was like I was finding like a disconnect between that big. There's somebody else in this room. It's more about sofa, I think. So how long did it take Edward VI? Who's going? Hugh Lauren. Cup of tea? I've just got to see how these do. Pakistan. Beer? The Great Train Robbery. Let's have a beer. Or a cup of tea. How long did it take? Are you okay? Amstrad. Are you annoyed with me? The Telegraph. Why are you annoyed with me? Let me know who you'll be going with and where you'll be, and I'll just meet you there. I've actually got vegetarian lasagna in the freezer. Well, I'll put it in the oven now. Sydney Poitier, English to record. Oh, nice to have you in here. Be too hot out. And I just read down you're taller than me.
I love the vegetarian lasagna. Thank you. I want to wrap this up with something that I really thought about when it comes to writing, because, you know, whether we're doing this as a hobby, whether we're doing this just as an outlet, whether we're doing this as, you know, want a career, writing can be the most wonderful thing in the world, but it can also be, you know, just awful at times. So I just wanted to, I wrote this and I hope it helps or whatever. So I just wanted to say, I always think as writing as one of the greatest gifts I've been given, that I get these little fizzes, moments where I see something or feel something or imagine something and I have to write about it. I have to explore it, research it, colour the people in, build the world and live inside it for a while. And I say have to because it's not a choice. It's physical. It's a physical reaction. When that fizz comes, I have to do something with it. But then there are also days where I want nothing to do with writing, where it feels too hard, too exposing, too delusional, too much. Still, I want you to remember the fizzy moments, the excited ones, the naive, curious, heart-racing ones. When you feel that spark, what are you going to do with it? And that's where I'd like to end the workshop. Thank you so